welcome to Sip and Chat, and tell us briefly who is Majak.
All right, okay. Thank you so much, Tim Sijin. My name is Majak Kwanya. I'm a journalist by profession. I've worked for nearly 9 years or more than 9 years so far in the profession, particularly in the print media and online media. And currently, I serve as the Secretary General for the Union of Journalists of South Sudan.
Wow.
So I'm a married man.
I like that.
So, yes,
Okay, welcome to Sip and Chat once again, and this is a platform where we talk about youth doing different things in their walks of life. And coming from the background of journalism, I could not do this without talking about media in South Sudan, so I have to bring it back home. So today we're going to be
yes,
discussing about the development of media in South Sudan and how we have grown so far, starting from the time of independence to where we are right now.
yes.
Before we do that, Majak, please allow me to do this summary of updates. In 2012, we lost one journalist, and in 2015 we lost 7 journalists in South Sudan, and in 2016 we lost one journalist, and lastly in 2017 we lost one journalist too. Altogether we have lost 10 journalists in 4 years in South Sudan. And reflect back a little bit about this kind of situation where we find that journalists are being, targeted, and at the end of the day, there is no justice. So you have been part of this journey for a very long time. You have seen it all. What do you say about this situation where you find that South Sudan is at the rim of such situations where we don't hold people accountable when it comes to media?
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for this background information so far. This is the information according to Reporters Without Borders. They estimated the number to be about 10, but literally based on our uh, internal statistic, if we go, because we know this, some of our colleagues, we will be having more than that number. So literally, in the times of 2012 up to date, we may say that we might have lost more than 10 journalists in the profession. And before commenting about this incident, let me just give you also the media landscape in South Sudan.
Go ahead, please.
If we talk about the media landscape currently, if you look back from the time that we got the independent up to the time of 2013, so this way I will be basically focusing basically from 2013 to date. Because why am I saying that? Because this is the time that we enacted 3 media laws. That is the Media Authority Act 2013, and then South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation Act 2013, and also Access to Information 2013. So seeing that what has changed when these laws were enacted into the law by the president in 2013 and become effective in 2014. So Media Authority was established in 2017. And since then, if you can compare back, because I remember that time around 2014, we used to meet at the parliament,
Yes.
whereby you were covering some our MPs legislating on some key laws of our country. So if you look the time there and the time where the media authority came into effect, there have been minimal cases of whereby they handle issues of the media. However, still there are some key institutions within the media authority that were supposed to be established, like
Yep.
which one, like media compliance desk. It has not been constituted up to date. It is the desk that is supposed to tackle issues of complaint,
Yep.
that either members of the public are having issues with the journalists, or members of the security are having issues with the public. So this desk is really missing, and this whereby the media is having a lot of challenges. So, but at least there is this window. There's this window that we said we have the media laws in the country. Are they effective? This is the question somebody from somewhere can ask. So
Yes.
despite this, to answer back to the question of we have been losing members of our fraternity through the hands of rigorous uh, military officers or government authority. So despite the tough working condition, I will say the journalists now they're finding ways to be able to do their work professionally. And the bad thing that happening is not discouraging them
Yeah.
Instead, it is giving them resilience for them to be able to do their work. So if you can remember in 2021, two of our colleagues, they scooped regional awards. That is
Yeah.
Wake Simon Wudu and
Mm-hmm.
Monodanga. They all work for Voice of America. That is Voice of America in South Sudan in Focus. So what does this portray in the media industry? This gives the young generation of journalists a hope that despite all this harsh environment that we are going through, there is there is a profession called journalism that can inform citizens to have a clear understanding of the affairs in this country. So this is what I can say. Yes, certain
Definitely.
things are happening, but we can't give up. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. You have summarized it very well, Majak. And given the
Mm.
fact that it has been a tough journey, but of course we can say there are a lot of achievements in the process, despite the fact that there are losses as we move forward. Do you think that there's need for us to educate our institutions about the role of journalism? Because I think in every country, for a country to develop that, there should be a media that is independent and transparent. So in South Sudan, it has turned into a situation whereby you look at media as an enemy of the state. Is there a need for us to create awareness within the established government institutions, especially the organized forces, to let them understand that media is there to support the progress of the government and to hold government accountable, and also to give public information is very important. And I do want to quote this: media is the fourth branch of the government that is not actively part of the government in other countries. Is there a
Yes,
need for awareness?
yes. Yeah, sure, sure. You know, the awareness is a continuous thing. We can't say that, okay, if a Union of Journalists of South Sudan is conducting civic education on matters related to constitution making process or issues of election or issues of safety and protection or issues of making sure that of freedom of expression. So this thing can be done collectively, both
Yeah.
the media fraternities and the civil society and even the government. They really need to create a serious awareness that to portray that the media are not enemies of the state. Instead, the media are friends that can contribute to the reconstruction of our country, because first of all, journalists, where do they come from? They are the
From the
members of the
community.
society. Yes, they
Yeah.
are members of the community. So they are there to bridge the gap. So they are there, they are like a bridge. Today, if
Yeah.
we don't have the Freedom Bridge, if we don't have the Juba Bridge, you will not be able to connect between Gumbo and Juba and the other part of South Sudan. Similarly to the same thing with the work of journalists. If the office of the president is having an announcement today and there is no South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation, or there is no iRadio or Radio Miraya or other radio station or newspapers, how will the head of state uh, relay the information to the public? That's why we say we are the bridge
Yeah.
between the authorities and the grassroots. So there is a serious work that really need to be done in terms of advocacy and strengthening dialogue, such that the both the institutions should really clearly understand the work of the media and to be able
Definitely.
to know that media is there. You know, when there is a vibrant media, there is a lively society, because you will have an informed society,
Yes.
and then you will be able to also have a educated society. You will have a society that knows their rights.
Yes.
But when you have a weak media institution, and then definitely you also have a weak society that do not know their right, that do not partake in the issues of the socio-economic, political aspect in the country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
serious institutions really need to do their best.
All
And
right.
for us as the union, that's why you have been seeing us going around the state. What are we doing? We are making sure that we reconstitute our branches to be able to connect with these ministries, to be able to connect with these state governors, to be able to connect with the citizen, such that they disseminate accurate information.
Definitely. Majak, as much as we also need to, we always say that there's a weakness in terms of working with institutions, but also don't you think that there's also need for us to strengthen our capacity as journalists? Because I know of very young journalists. In our time, we used to have trainings by NPA and other more trainings. We're exposed to a lot of media
Mm,
trainings
mm,
on ethics, on do no harm reporting,
mm,
and all
mm.
this. And such opportunities now are not
Yes,
there. As much as we also blame
yes.
the state or the institutions, don't you think that also there's need for us to capacitate our journalists? Because at some point, some journalists would
Mm,
report recklessly. We have the tool to do the
mm,
reporting, but of course we don't have to abuse it. We don't have to misuse the tools that we have. So do you think there's need for
mm,
capacity
mm.
building to journalists also to be able to be on the right side when the law comes to their side?
Yeah, that is true. Capacity building is also a continuous thing. I say there's one of the veteran journalists. This is not for bad. I'm mentioning him not for
Yeah.
bad, but just to reference what he said. This is Victor Lugala. He one time regarded the current journalists that are practicing as pitfall journalists. These are workshop journalists. Though he was maybe having an intention to portray a certain message, but still, if we don't build the capacity of these journalists through this workshop, where do you think that they can really get a certain compressed information that they are not getting from the universities? Remember the universities we are having here, like University of Juba. I am also a graduate from the University of Juba, College of Art and Humanities, Department of Mass Communication. But during our time, we don't have practical.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Juba University having a radio station?
No.
Have you ever seen Juba University having a newspaper? I only see them having a magazine or a newsletter, but I don't know where it is. Is it enough for them to be able to make sure that they put these journalists to practice? It is not. It is
Yeah.
on an individual journalist to make effort
Yeah.
to make sure that you go and practice like myself. Before I venture into journalism, when I was in my second year and third year, I realized that I was in a hospitality business.
Yeah.
So when I realized that I was now in a third year and next will be fourth year, so I said it will be part of me or poor of me to be able to start practicing after graduation. So I
Yeah.
seek avenues whereby I should start practicing. So this practice later led me into attending some of the training. And
Yeah.
today you can see me as the Secretary General of the Union of Journalists. And today you can also read my byline on Chinese news agency, Washington Times, and other international news agencies. But if I
Yeah.
had relied on only the information that I received from these universities, I would be like some of my colleagues that graduated with me. Where are they today? They're either employed by